Hello guys, this is Chen again from the Real Estate Fastlane. So today I'm going to talk about if you have own a rental property within a area with rent control, how can you evict the tenant if you want to move in yourself or your family wants to move in. So I'm basically reading through the information online and explain to you what's the requirement. So again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA, so if you need professional service, you need to get a professional help. So I'm a real estate broker, so but I'm not a lawyer, okay? So here's how it works. Let me go through. So first, before you, so it says first, prior to serving any 60-day notice, a landlord must fill out a declaration of intent to evict for landlord occupancy and file it with the Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department. The form can be found here. A fee must be paid to the Los Angeles Housing and Community Development Department. Second, the landlord must take a declaration of intent to evict for landlord occupancy and provides a copy of a tenant when serving the tenant 60 days notice. A 60-day notice must state the reason for the eviction in addition to providing the declaration. Third, relocation assistance must be provided to tenant at the time the tenant moves. A previous blog post highlights. Okay, we can talk about more about that in the next video. So it is important to note that the tenant who does not move out at the end of the 60-day notice must be evicted. A landlord would have to file an unlawful detainer against the tenant in order for the tenant to move out. So now let's talk about the requirement. Okay. So there's also several requirements in order for the landlord to successfully evict a tenant for purpose of moving into their units or having a qualified family member move in. So number one, the landlord must own the title to at least 25% of the property. Second, the landlord cannot evict if there is a comparable unit vacant. Third, a landlord, okay, what the second line means is that if you, let's say in my situation, I bought a 5 unit. If there's already an empty unit, then I cannot do that. I cannot evict the tenant. I can only evict the tenant if there's no unit available for me to move into. Okay, another one is another requirement. A landlord must evict the most recent tenant to occupy a unit with the needed number of bedrooms, unless the landlord needs a different unit due to a medical necessity, must be proven by the physician. This intends to prevent a landlord must evicting a tenant paying the lowest rent. You know what that means, right? Because for example, let me use the property I'm buying right now as an example. So the property I'm buying right now is in downtown Los Angeles. It has 5 units, but for that one it's really bad because the previous owner, the rent they be charging is crazy low. So the area rent in the area is like $2,500, but they were only charging like $1,000. So let's say if they let's say just hypothetically, if they have 4 units, they're charging 1,000. The 5th unit they're charging 2,000. That means if I want to evict, I cannot evict the tenant that's only paying 1,000. I can only evict the tenant that's paying 2,000. Okay, so that's what that means. So another requirement is that a landlord may not evict a tenant who has lived in the unit for more than 10 years. So that means if the tenant is been living there for more than 10 years, then you're I mean, for the lack of a better word, you're FUCK'd. And also if the tenant is 62 years or older or disabled. So this is an important requirement to note because you would need to investigate this fact if you are planning to move into a unit that you are currently purchasing. So let's say if you want to use this as a reason to move out to evict the tenant because you want to move in yourself, but if the tenant has been living there for more than 10 years, and if the tenant is 62 years or older or disabled, then you cannot do that. You would not be able to use this as a reason to evict the tenant. And another requirement, a landlord or qualified family member must move in within 3 months of vacancy. And also a landlord or qualified family member must intend to live in the unit for at least 2 years. That means even if you move in, you cannot really make rental income for at least 2 years because you gotta live there by yourself, your family. So this must be proven to the Los Angeles County Housing and Community Investment Department annually. If a landlord represents the unit within 2 years, let me see. Okay, that's it. Here it says if a landlord re-rent the unit within 2 years of vacancy, the previous tenant must be notified and be allowed the right of first refusal, but only if the tenant advised the landlord within 30 days of vacancy of the tenant's desire to consider a renewal of tenancy. Let me see what that means. So here, the first half I understand. It says if a landlord represents the unit within 2 years of vacancy, the previous tenant must be notified and be allowed the right to the first refusal, but only if the tenant advised the landlord within 30 days of vacancy of the tenant's desire to consider a renewal into tenancy. Okay, so that means, let's say if you after 2 years, if you're gonna re-rent it, you gotta let the previous tenant know that you're gonna re-rent it. But the previous tenant, they have to respond to you within 30 days. So basically that's what it means. Okay, and also the unit is not decontrolled after the family member moves out. So the rent would have to be the same as it was prior to the landlord or qualified family member move in. Oh, so here it says, even if you want to say, let's say even if you want to move in, say you're gonna move in yourself, and after 2 years you're gonna re-rent it, you're gonna have to re-rent it at the same rent. I'm not sure if it's completely correct, but anyway, so this is just, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just sharing with you some of the ways that you can, as a landlord, if you want to move in yourself, how do you if there's some of the requirements. Okay, so again, thank you for watching my video. Click on my video, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon, and if you have any comment, leave a comment. Okay, again, I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so if you want to go through any of this, you got to find a professional.